Alright, this is the beginning of another print. This is a multi-part print. There's going to be a bottom body right here, that's what I'm printing now, and an upper body for this piece. So there'll be a two-part body. There'll be 6 gears, I think about 6 gears placed within this body, and then the lid will be put onto that. So I'm doing the lower body now, but I just wanted to point out that when most people do the first layer, I don't know, it tends to not look good to me. This is what looks good to me and what has always been good for me. Okay, and you can see here, let's see if I can get the light right, but I obviously use the mirror because it's reflective, it's flat from the factory, it has to be flat, so that's one advantage of using it. It's removable and replaceable between prints, that's another advantage. That way I'm not disrupting the knobs here, because it seems that people tend to change things because of operator error. They end up removing a print from their print surface while still on the carriage. If you do that, it has a high probability of disrupting these knobs, okay? And then they say, oh, well, the knobs don't stay where they're put, and yada, 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 and blah, blah, blah. These are the original springs, okay? You can see that. They're not the yellow ones. They're not rubber blocks of silicone, okay? They're the original springs. Whenever I finish a print, I remove the print surface, take it off of the carriage, and then do all your removal away from the printer. So remove it from the carriage, and then you won't have a tendency to mess up your level. It's just basic 101 printing, okay? So again, I want to show the first layer. This, as you can see, is the first layer, you know, because you can see the tape. And the advantage of the tape is it's a contrast in color. You can see the white here. The whiteness is almost translucent. It's almost a translucent blue. So that means the smush or the troweling down of the filament is perfect. It's smooth and you can almost see through it, okay, because of the contrast in color of the tape. You can see that, you know, plainly. So what I wanted to do is be able to print in a way that shows me, as a user, the advantages. And the advantage of the tape is you can see the contrast in color. You can see the skirt. You can see there's no brim, all right, no raft. It's just not required. So if this first layer is going down well enough, it's troweling down well enough to hold itself to the tape. No messy ass glue sticks or any crap like that. And I can touch this all day long. There's not excessive cleaning all the time like other users have to do with their print surfaces. So the advantage of this print surface is so much more than anything that anybody else uses. And I said, well, no, that's not for me. I don't want to use the PETF plate, whatever the hell it is. I said, well, what will a mirror do for me? So this is a pre-cut to size mirror. It's flat, it's reflective, and removable, okay? I can also have a second mirror ready to go, so when this print is done, I can start the next one right away. Also, check here. I'm not heating the bed. Right here, 0 is the set point. That means no heat to the bed. So if somebody says, what's your temperature of the bed? Room temperature, okay? Some people tend to have to heat their bed to induce adhesion. You don't see that here. You don't see a heated bed to force adhesion, okay? My nozzle is 212. That's normal for PLA. That's about normal for this brand of PLA. And again, you can see it going down really nice. I'm not hiding anything here. You can see it for yourself. So when I say it, you can see it. There it is, okay? So now we're on the second layer, and it's going diagonal in that direction now, rather than the other way. It was going diagonal this way, okay? So just see for yourself what's happening here. Basically, there's no electronic gizmo here on the side, no leveling thing, because there's so much you have to deal with to even get that to work and to even get the table leveled, when technically it takes me like 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes, to use this. It's a paper feeler gauge. That's why they call it a paper feeler gauge. It uses literally a strip of paper, not a whole damn sheet of paper, just a strip, 2 inch by maybe 6 inch, just a strip under the nozzle, and I'm tramming the bed on the corners of the tape. So if I print a model that's closer to the center and I have just tape on the middle, I just tram the bed on the corners of the tape, not way the hell out here. It doesn't need to be trammed out here because it's printing in there. Alright, so there you see the head. This is the print head. This is the bare minimum of print heads. Okay, all you need for 3D printing is to get the filament from up here on the side here. It's a direct shot right here into the extruder. It's feeding the extruder. It's being pulled in by the extruder, being pushed out at the same time. So it's A, B, C. Okay, so the A is pulling the filament from the spool through the extruder at a certain rate. Okay, that's constant. All right, and many times it may retract. It may feed and then retract, and feed and retract. It really depends on the print itself, whether retraction is required or not. In this particular case, there's not going to be a whole lot of retraction this early in the print. We have our Bowden tube. This is the Bowden tube delivery. That's how it gets filament from here to the print head. The Bowden is the Bowden way of feeding filament. Because this is a moving head, you have to somehow get the filament into the top of the print head. This is the top. There's no added weight on here. There's no stepper motor hanging up here, because you don't want to increase the weight of the print head. You start stacking crap on the top of the print head, you know, stepper motors and everything else that goes up here for direct drive, you're adding weight, and you can't stop gravity. All right, so you're putting weight up here, you're adding momentum. So when this thing is going back and forth really rapid, not just these slow moving motions here, again, that won't matter. But if you have a print that takes a lot of motion back and forth and back and forth, that added weight is going to be a problem, because you got weight, you got gravity, you got momentum. How do you fix that? Okay, you can either try using your slicer and changing the numbers and do whatever the hell you need to do, but I just keep it basic. Extruder, Bowden tube, print head. Okay, so this is pushing filament down to the table, again at a specific pressure. It's a flow, and it's got to actually trowel the filament down. That nozzle is an itty-bitty trowel, so when filament is coming out the nozzle, the center of the nozzle, it's being troweled down by the brass nozzle. It's being pressed onto the table. And when it's doing it properly, it will fuse to the table, it will fuse to the layer below it, and it'll fuse all the way up. That's why they call it FDM printing, filament deposition modeling. Right? It's fusing one layer on top of the other. So there's not going to be any brittleness or anything like that. So if we go over here, again, we're now on the third layer, and it's going down, it's fusing down very nicely. So these three layers are fused properly together, and it will fuse properly all the way up. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. Don't overthink 3D printing. Let the printer do the work it was designed to do. By adding all this crap around it and these added outside airflow blowing and shit like that, you know, they put like added I don't know why they even do it, even what they're called, but they add extra air, extra fans, extra motors on top of this thing, when technically it's printing just as you see it right now with none of that. It's just the print head. This here, we've got the heat sink, We've got the heat block and we've got the nozzle.